Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your AI hosts, and we take you on these journeys, through all these complex topics and try to extract the most interesting nuggets of knowledge.
Yeah.
And today we are diving into Tyler's thoughts.
Okay.
He's been exploring work addiction, human motivation, happiness, nature of cognition.
Lots to unpack.
Lots to unpack.
Yeah, it's fascinating how he seems drawn to like the underlying why behind things.
Right.
Like why do we do what we do? What drives our actions and beliefs? I mean, these are like fundamental questions.
Yeah.
Philosophers have been grappling with this for centuries.
Exactly.
And it seems like Tyler is on a similar quest, for understanding.
Yeah, so let's start with his notes on work addiction.
Okay.
He's considering it as a coping mechanism, like an escape from discomfort or a way to overcompensate for shortcomings. And this actually resonates with a lot of research on addiction, right?
Uh-huh.
Which often stems from a desire to numb emotional pain or fill a void.
Right. It's like work becomes the substitute
Yeah.
for something that's missing.
Right.
And so instead of addressing like the root cause of their discomfort,
Yeah.
they might bury themselves in work,
Right.
create this cycle of achievement and validation that kind of masks the underlying issues.
Totally. And this ties into his next idea, a book about doing
Okay.
rather than thinking.
Interesting.
He connects this to evolutionary biology, arguing that humans evolved to conserve energy and only act when necessary. So he wonders if in today's world where basic needs are often met,
Right.
if that evolutionary drive leads to inaction,
Yeah.
criticism,
Okay.
even nihilism.
That's a provocative thought.
Yeah.
Have we become too comfortable?
Right.
Has the ease with which we meet our basic needs led to a decline in drive and ambition?
Yeah. It's
I mean, it's certainly true that many people struggle with procrastination
Right.
and a lack of motivation, even when they have the resources and opportunities.
totally. And he also observes this tendency towards criticism rather than creation. So, is it easier to critique something
Yeah,
than to actually do something?
right.
Put yourself out there.
Yeah. Could that be a symptom of this evolutionary drive to conserve energy?
Yeah.
It's less risky to criticize than to create.
Right.
Hmm.
Makes you think.
Makes you wonder if this fear of failure is preventing us from reaching our full potential.
Yeah, and then he shifts gears to a book about being highly optimized,
Okay.
maximizing both physical and mental potential.
Interesting.
And he specifically mentions the power of walks
Oh, yeah.
for problem solving.
There's a long tradition of that.
Yeah.
Thinkers and creators finding inspiration during walks.
He brings up historical examples
Like who?
like Aristotle,
Okay.
Darwin,
Yeah,
and there's actually scientific evidence for it.
I believe it.
Yeah, studies have shown that walking increases blood flow to the brain,
Makes sense.
enhances cognitive function,
Yeah.
boosts creativity.
Uh-huh.
And then he proposes a unique take on multitasking. He believes it can be beneficial when combining physical activity with mental stimulation,
Like what?
like listening to podcasts while walking,
Oh, interesting.
as a way to spark new ideas.
The key there, I think, is the type of multitasking.
Right.
So trying to do two cognitively demanding tasks simultaneously,
Yeah.
like writing an email while having a conversation,
Yeah.
it often leads to decreased performance.
In both.
Yeah, but combining a physical activity
Right.
that doesn't require intense focus,
Uh-huh.
like walking
Me.
with a mentally stimulating activity like listening to a podcast,
Yeah.
that can actually create a synergistic effect,
Yeah.
enhance both the physical and mental experience.
Okay, let's move on to another big theme in his notes.
What's that?
Happiness.
Okay.
He wants to explore it through multiple lenses,
Right.
biological, cultural, psychological,
Hmm.
even financial.
Interesting. So he's really searching for a deeper understanding of happiness, going beyond just like fleeting pleasure to uncover the foundations of genuine well-being.
Exactly, and it suggests that true happiness is more than just a momentary feeling.
Right.
It's a state of being
Yeah.
that encompasses meaning,
Uh-huh.
purpose,
Yeah.
fulfillment.
I like that.
And he mentions Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Oh.
The idea that basic needs like safety and belonging must be met
Right.
before we can pursue higher level needs like self-actualization.
So he's saying there's like a roadmap.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds like he wants to provide a roadmap
Yeah.
for achieving lasting happiness,
Okay.
acknowledging that certain foundational elements must be in place for individuals to thrive.
It's like building a house.
Yeah.
You need a strong foundation
Okay.
before you can add the roof and the fancy decorations.
Exactly.
Similarly, genuine happiness requires a foundation of security, connection,
Yeah.
self-esteem.
Right.
Only then can we pursue higher level needs like creativity, self-expression, making a contribution to the world.
Totally.
Yeah.
So simply chasing pleasure without addressing those foundational needs might be a recipe for disappointment.
Right. It's like trying to build a castle on sand.
Yeah.
It might look impressive at first.
Yeah.
But without a solid base, it's bound to crumble.
Exactly. And it seems like he's exploring how those different facets of happiness,
Okay.
biological, cultural, psychological, financial,
Yeah.
how they interact and influence each other.
Give me an example.
Like financial security.
Okay.
It doesn't guarantee happiness,
Right.
but chronic financial stress
Yeah.
can really undermine well-being
Makes sense.
or our cultural background, societal norms.
Yeah.
They shape our beliefs about what constitutes a good life and how happiness is achieved.
It's a complex interplay
Totally.
of factors, both internal and external,
Yeah.
that contribute to our overall sense of happiness and fulfillment.
Yeah.
So it's not just about chasing those fleeting moments of pleasure.
Right.
It's about cultivating a life that is meaningful.
Purposeful
Yeah.
and aligned with our values.
And that leads us to his exploration of cognition.
Okay.
He makes this fascinating argument that culture,
Uh-huh.
much like the internet for computers,
Okay.
connects us and shapes our understanding of the world.
Interesting.
He uses the analogy of software running on a computer
Oh,
to describe how culture influences our thoughts and behaviors,
interesting.
suggesting that we're all running different programs based on the cultural context we're immersed in.
That's a powerful analogy.
Yeah.
Imagine our brains as computers,
Uh-huh.
constantly processing information,
Yeah.
generating output based on the software we've installed,
Right.
our cultural background, upbringing,
Yeah.
life experiences,
Yeah.
all contribute to the programming
Right.
that shapes our perceptions
Uh-huh.
and interpretations of the world.
And this brings us to the concept of flow state,
Okay.
that feeling of being completely absorbed in an activity,
Yeah.
losing track of time, experiencing a sense of effortless focus.
I love that feeling.
Yeah, and Tyler links this flow state to meaning and purpose,
Okay.
suggesting that when we're in flow,
Yeah.
we're tapping into something essential about our human experience. He even connects it to Socrates' quest for truth,
Wow.
and the idea that our character develops as we strive to realize our potential.
So flow state isn't just about enjoying an activity. It's
Right.
about aligning with our true selves
Yeah.
and pursuing activities that bring us closer to our full potential.
It's a signpost pointing us towards a life of meaning and purpose.
I like that in this pursuit of potential, realizing our unique capabilities.
Yeah.
This is what he sees as the key to finding meaning.
Okay.
He even argues that our purpose is to further both our organization and our creation,
Interesting.
because we are constantly organizing and creating ourselves
Right.
throughout our lives. That's like we're each a work in progress,
Yeah.
constantly evolving, refining our understanding of who we are and what we're meant to do.
I like that analogy.
And a key part of that process, as he points out, is pattern recognition.
Right.
We're fundamentally wired to find patterns.
Makes sense.
And those patterns can lead us to our source of meaning.
It's like our brains are constantly searching for order in the chaos, trying to make sense of the world around us. And when we find those patterns,
Yeah.
whether in nature,
Uh-huh.
our relationships,
Boy.
our own personal journeys,
Yeah.
it gives us a sense of understanding, connection, and purpose.
And this reminds me of his note about living with regret.
Okay.
He argues that we should evaluate our choices
Right.
based on whether we'd regret them later if we didn't take action.
Interesting.
It's not just about avoiding pain,
Right.
but about embracing the potential for growth and learning
Yeah.
that comes with taking risks, stepping outside of our comfort zones.
And that leads us to another interesting concept. Okay.
The role of play in finding meaning and purpose, he argues that play, even in forms that aren't traditionally considered fun,
Yeah.
like therapy
Absolutely.
or historical reenactment, is a fundamental requirement for a fulfilling life.
It's like play allows us to explore different aspects of ourselves,
Right.
experiment with new ideas,
Good.
break free from the constraints of our everyday routines.
Be creative.
Yeah.
spontaneous,
Yeah.
fully present in the moment.
Without the pressure of outcomes or expectations.
Exactly. And he even touches on this idea of choosing ignorance as a path to happiness,
Okay.
referencing people with Down syndrome who often exhibit a consistent sense of joy and contentment.
Interesting.
So it raises this thought-provoking question.
Yeah.
Is it possible to choose happiness by consciously limiting our exposure to information or experiences that might challenge our worldview?
It's a controversial idea,
Yeah.
but it highlights the complex relationship
Right.
between knowledge, happiness.
And the narratives we construct for ourselves.
And he contrasts this with the idea that the truth is more important than the choice.
Okay.
Suggesting that there's a tension between seeking comfort and seeking truth,
Yeah.
even if that truth might be unsettling.
It's like the classic dilemma in The Matrix, right?
Exactly.
Do we choose the blissful ignorance of the simulated world?
Right.
Or face the harsh realities of the real one?
Yeah.
Kyler seems to believe that genuine happiness comes from aligning with truth.
Even if it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, he emphasizes that we have a fundamental right to pursue happiness.
Okay.
But after that, everything else is responsibility.
Our responsibility.
Yeah, earn and fight for the things that matter to us.
So happiness isn't just a feeling.
Right.
It's a choice we make
Yeah.
and a responsibility we carry.
And he breaks down the core components of meaning.
What are those?
Coherence,
Okay.
significance,
Uh-huh.
and purpose.
So understanding our place in the world,
Yeah.
feeling like our actions matter, and having a clear sense of direction.
It's like a recipe for a fulfilling life, isn't it?
It is.
Understanding our place in the grand scheme of things,
Yeah.
contributing to something larger than ourselves,
Right.
having a sense of purpose that guides our actions,
Mhm.
gives our lives meaning.
And then he dives deep into the history of philosophical thought,
Okay.
tracing the evolution of ideas
Yeah.
from Aquinas' integration of reason, love, and transcendence
Wow.
to the rise of Aristotelianism and the scientific worldview.
It's fascinating how he connects these seemingly disparate strands of thought,
Yeah.
highlighting both the continuities
Uh-huh.
and the ruptures
Right.
in our understanding of the world
Yeah.
and our place within it.
He seems particularly interested in how the separation of reason from love
Right.
and the rise of a purely rationalistic worldview
Yeah.
might have contributed to a sense of meaninglessness in the modern world.
It's as if we've become so focused on the measurable,
Yeah.
the objective, the quantifiable,
Right.
that we've lost sight of the subjective,
Yeah.
the emotional,
Worry.
the spiritual.
Those aspects of human experience that give our lives meaning and connect us to something beyond ourselves.
And he doesn't shy away from tackling potentially controversial topics.
Like what?
He brings up the Protestant Reformation
Okay.
and suggests that the emphasis on faith over action
Right.
might have inadvertently contributed to a culture of narcissism,
Interesting.
where individuals become preoccupied with their own salvation
Uh-huh.
and lose sight of their responsibilities to others.
It's a thought-provoking claim,
Yeah.
and one that resonates with contemporary critiques of individualism
Right.
and the self-centeredness that often permeates modern society.
Totally. He connects this to the rise of social media and influencer culture,
Oh, yeah.
where self-promotion
Hmm.
and the pursuit of external validation often takes center stage.
It's like we're all trying to build our own personal brands.
Right.
Instead of contributing to something larger than ourselves.
Yeah. And this focus on individual achievement and self-promotion can come at the expense of community,
Right.
compassion,
Mm-hmm.
and a sense of shared purpose.
And speaking of purpose,
Mhm.
he circles back to this idea of relevance realization,
Okay.
arguing that it's an inherently evolving and
Yeah.
deeply personal process,
Yeah.
but one that's rooted in mythos.
Okay.
The stories and narratives that shape our understanding of the world.
It's like we're all on a quest to find our place in the grand narrative of human existence.
Right.
Seeking stories that resonate with our values, aspirations,
Yeah.
experiences.
And these stories, whether they come from religion,
Right.
mythology, literature,
Yeah.
or our own personal lives,
Right.
provide a framework for understanding who we are,
Mhm.
where we came from,
Yeah.
and where we're going.
And he makes a fascinating observation about intelligence,
Okay, what's that?
suggesting that the more intelligent we are,
Right.
the more neural pathways we can form, leading to a greater capacity for nuanced thinking and adaptability.
So intelligence isn't just about having a high IQ.
Right.
It's about the ability to make connections,
Yeah.
see patterns,
Right.
adapt to new information,
Yeah.
and constantly refine our understanding of the world.
Exactly.
It's about the flexibility and agility of our minds,
Uh-huh.
our capacity to learn, grow, and evolve.
And he uses the analogy of software again.
Okay.
This time, comparing religion to a program
Mm-hmm.
running on our mental desktop.
Interesting.
He argues that religion, like other cultural software,
Yeah.
shapes our thoughts,
Yeah.
emotions, and behaviors.
Even if we're not consciously aware of its influence.
So it's not just about the specific doctrines or rituals
Right.
of a particular faith,
Yeah.
but about the underlying framework of beliefs and values that it instills in us.
So it's about the stories we tell ourselves about the world,
Right.
our place within it, and the meaning of our lives.
Exactly. And he even suggests that some religious software might be required for our mental operating system to function properly.
Interesting.
Hinting at that deep-seated human need for meaning,
Right.
purpose, and connection to something larger than ourselves.
Yeah, and he doesn't shy away from the potential downsides of this religious software, acknowledging the potential for extremism and violence when beliefs are taken to extremes.
He even draws a parallel between the appeal of extremist ideologies and the allure of video games.
Oh, wow.
Suggesting that both offer a sense of purpose, adventure, and control.
That can be intoxicating.
Right. Especially for those who feel lost or disillusioned.
Especially in the real world where things are more complex.
Right.
It's like extremism offers a simplified black and white view of the world that can be comforting.
Yeah.
In a world that often feels complex.
Yeah.
Ambiguous, chaotic. It provides a sense of certainty.
Belonging.
Right.
Purpose.
That can be very seductive.
Yeah, especially for individuals who are struggling to find meaning and direction.
Exactly. And he highlights the power of group dynamics and tribalism.
Okay.
Drawing on his own experiences in a monastery.
Interesting.
And observing the electric energy of crowds at sporting events.
So he's saying there's something primal.
Yeah, there's something primal and deeply ingrained in our human nature that draws us to these collective experiences.
Whether it's the shared fervor of a religious ritual or the ecstatic unity of a cheering crowd.
It's like tapping into a collective energy source that transcends our individual identities and connects us to something larger than ourselves.
A feeling of belonging.
Yeah.
A shared purpose.
Right.
Being part of something that matters.
And this sense of belonging, of being part of a tribe, can be incredibly powerful.
For sure.
Both for good and for bad.
Right. It can inspire acts of great altruism and selflessness.
But it can also lead to prejudice, discrimination, and even violence.
Against those perceived as outsiders.
Exactly. And that leads us to another fascinating observation.
Okay.
He discusses the brain's self-defense mechanisms, drawing on the example of brain trauma patients who deny their paralysis and construct elaborate narratives to explain away their limitations.
It's like our minds have a built-in safety net that protects us from the full impact of trauma or cognitive dissonance, even if it means distorting reality in the process.
It's a reminder that our perceptions are not always accurate reflections of reality, and that our brains are constantly working to create a coherent narrative, even if it means filling in the gaps with fabrications.
And this tendency to construct narratives, to make sense of the world through stories, it's something that he repeatedly returns to.
Seems like a key theme in his understanding of human cognition and our search for meaning.
We're storytelling creatures.
Right.
Constantly weaving together threads of experience, memory, imagination.
To create a tapestry of meaning that gives our lives coherence and purpose.
And these stories, whether they're personal narratives, cultural myths, or religious doctrines, shape our beliefs, values, and behaviors in profound ways.
He even suggests that some forms of prejudice, like homophobia, might stem from repressed internal conflicts where individuals project their own insecurities and anxieties onto others.
It's a complex and controversial topic.
For sure.
But one that highlights the often unconscious psychological mechanisms at play in the formation of our beliefs and attitudes.
Yeah, and he draws a fascinating parallel between epileptic seizures, which often involve visions of bright light and a sense of spiritual transcendence, and the Apostle Paul's conversion experience, where he was struck by a blinding light and heard the voice of God.
It's a thought-provoking connection.
It is.
That raises questions about the relationship between neurological phenomena and religious experience.
Suggesting that what we perceive as divine revelation might have a biological basis.
It's a reminder that our brains are capable of generating experiences that feel profoundly spiritual.
Yeah.
Even if they originate from purely physical processes.
And this brings us to another interesting comparison.
Okay.
He likens savants, who often exhibit extraordinary abilities in specific areas, but struggle with general cognitive tasks, to specialized AI, while comparing humans to generalized AI.
Interesting.
Capable of solving a wider range of problems, but lacking the savant's extreme proficiency in specific domains.
It's a fascinating analogy that highlights the trade-offs between specialization and generalization in both human and artificial intelligence.
Because like nature is constantly experimenting with different cognitive architectures, exploring the possibilities and limitations of both specialized and generalized intelligence.
And he uses the example of learning to play ping pong.
Oh, okay.
To illustrate the interplay between System 1 and System 2 thinking.
Interesting.
Where conscious effort and deliberate practice eventually become ingrained as unconscious competence.
It's like our brains are constantly learning and adapting.
Yeah.
Transferring skills from the realm of conscious effort to the realm of automatic execution.
And this process of learning and adaptation, this constant interplay between conscious and unconscious processes, is at the heart of human development and growth.
And that leads us to his final book idea.
Okay.
A deep dive into the root causes of societal problems. He argues that many of the challenges we face stem from a lack of curiosity and a reliance on repetitive processes.
Rather than creative innovation.
Exactly. He seems to believe that fostering curiosity is key to unlocking human potential.
Yeah.
And creating a more vibrant, dynamic, and adaptable society.
It's like we've become so focused on efficiency, productivity, optimization, that we've stifled our natural inclination to explore, experiment, imagine new possibilities.
And he specifically calls out businesses that prioritize process over creativity, arguing that they're missing out on the true source of growth and innovation.
It's like they're trying to squeeze every last drop of efficiency out of existing systems. Instead of venturing into uncharted territory. Where true breakthroughs lie.
So it's not just about coming up with new ideas. It's about cultivating an environment where those ideas can flourish and take root.
Exactly.
It's about fostering a culture of curiosity, experimentation, and risk-taking.
Where failure is seen as a learning opportunity rather than a setback.
Precisely. It's about creating a space where individuals feel empowered to challenge the status quo, ask difficult questions, and pursue unconventional paths.
I like that a lot. We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From work addiction and happiness to the nature of cognition, cultural programming, the importance of curiosity and creativity.
Lots to think about.
Lots to think about.
Yeah. So picking up where we left off, it seems like Tyler is really intrigued by this interplay between our evolved biology and our modern environment. He wonders if our primal instincts, honed for survival in a resource-scarce world, are now mismatched with the abundance and comfort of modern life.
He uses the term maladaptive to describe this potential mismatch.
It's like our ancient hardware struggling to run the latest software.
We're wired for scarcity, but living in a world of surplus. And this disconnect might be contributing to some of the challenges we face.
Like what?
Overconsumption, addiction, apathy, lack of meaning.
It's a fascinating hypothesis. And he doesn't just point out the problems. He also suggests some potential solutions.
Like what?
For example, he proposes leveraging our understanding of human psychology and evolutionary biology to design environments that promote well-being and foster a sense of purpose.
So like consciously designing our surroundings to better align with our evolved needs.
Yeah, he specifically mentions the importance of ritual and ceremony in creating meaning and connection.
Interesting.
He draws on examples from history and anthropology, highlighting how rituals even seemingly arbitrary ones, can serve to unite communities, reinforce social bonds, and provide a sense of order and structure.
It's like rituals create a shared narrative,
right?
A set of symbols and actions that convey meaning and purpose beyond the individual level.
They connect us to something larger than ourselves, whether it's a religious tradition, a cultural heritage, or simply a shared sense of belonging.
And so we can consciously design rituals for the modern world.
Exactly.
Rituals that are aligned with our values and aspirations.
Right.
Rituals that promote well-being and foster a sense of meaning and connection.
He even suggests that businesses can benefit from incorporating ritual into their organizational culture.
Interesting.
Creating a sense of shared purpose and identity that goes beyond the bottom line.
It's like weaving a tapestry of meaning that connects the individual to the collective, the present to the past, and the future.
And this brings us to another key theme in his notes.
What's that?
Leadership.
Okay.
He's fascinated by the qualities that make a great leader.
Right.
And he explores various leadership styles and their effectiveness in different contexts.
It seems like he's particularly drawn to leaders who inspire and empower others.
Yeah, leaders who create a shared vision and motivate their followers to achieve great things.
Right. He contrasts this with leaders who rely on coercion, manipulation, or fear.
To control others.
He uses the analogy of a gardener versus a dictator.
Okay. I like that.
The gardener cultivates the soil, provides nourishment, creates the conditions for growth, allowing the plants to flourish naturally.
Whereas the dictator tries to force growth through control and domination, often resulting in stunted or unhealthy plants.
It's a powerful analogy, highlighting the importance of creating an environment where individuals can thrive, where their talents and abilities can be fully expressed, where they feel valued and respected.
And Tyler suggests that this type of leadership is essential for navigating the complexities of the 21st century. A world characterized by rapid change, uncertainty, and unprecedented challenges.
He believes that leaders who can inspire collaboration, innovation, and adaptability will be the ones who succeed.
In this ever-evolving landscape.
He even suggests that the future belongs to those who can harness the power of collective intelligence.
Interesting.
Leveraging the diverse perspectives and talents of a group to solve complex problems.
He uses the analogy of a jazz band. Where each musician contributes their unique skills and creativity to create a harmonious whole that is greater than the sum of its parts.
So it's not about one person dictating the melody.
Exactly.
It's about everyone listening, responding, and improvising together.
And Tyler suggests that this model of collaborative leadership is not only more effective, but also more fulfilling.
For both the leader and the followers.
Exactly. It creates a sense of shared ownership, purpose, and accomplishment.
That is far more motivating and rewarding than a top-down command and control approach.
And this brings us to another key concept in his notes.
What's that?
Motivation. He explores various theories of motivation.
Like what?
From Maslow's hierarchy of needs to intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. And he seems to be searching for a deeper understanding of what drives human behavior.
He's particularly interested in the role of meaning and purpose in motivation.
Suggesting that people are more likely to be engaged and productive when they feel like their work is contributing to something larger than themselves.
He even suggests that the pursuit of meaning and purpose might be a fundamental human drive.
Really?
As essential to our well-being as food, water, and shelter.
He's going deep.
He draws on research in psychology and neuroscience, highlighting the role of dopamine and other neurochemicals in our experience of pleasure. Reward and motivation.
It's like our brains are wired to seek out meaning and purpose. And when we find it, we experience a surge of positive emotions and a sense of fulfillment.
That motivates us to continue pursuing our goals.
And Tyler suggests that this understanding of human motivation has profound implications.
For what?
For how we design our workplaces, our education systems, even our societies as a whole.
By creating environments that foster a sense of meaning and purpose, we can unlock human potential and create a world where people are more engaged, productive, and fulfilled.
And this brings us back to Tyler's exploration of happiness and well-being.
Okay.
He sees the pursuit of happiness not as a selfish indulgence, but as a fundamental human right.
Yeah.
And a necessary condition for a thriving society.
He argues that happy people are more likely to be productive, creative, and compassionate, contributing to the well-being of their communities and the world as a whole.
And he suggests that happiness is not simply the absence of suffering, but a positive state of being that encompasses joy, contentment, gratitude, and a sense of meaning and purpose.
He draws on research in positive psychology, highlighting the importance of cultivating positive emotions, building strong relationships, engaging in meaningful activities.
And contributing to something larger than ourselves.
It's like happiness is a garden we must tend to, nourishing it with positive experiences, meaningful connections, and acts of kindness and compassion.
And Tyler seems to believe that cultivating happiness is not just a personal pursuit, but a collective responsibility.
He suggests that we need to create societies that prioritize well-being, fostering environments that support individuals in their pursuit of happiness and fulfillment.
He even suggests that our economic system should be redesigned to prioritize well-being, rather than simply maximizing profit.
Interesting.
He argues that a focus on gross national happiness, rather than just gross domestic product, would lead to a more just, equitable, and sustainable society.
It's a radical idea.
It is.
But one that is gaining traction.
As more and more people are recognizing the limitations of our current economic model.
And his ideas don't stop there.
He goes even further.
Oh, yeah. He delves into a wide range of other topics.
Such as?
The nature of consciousness, the role of technology shaping our lives, the future of work, the challenges of navigating an increasingly complex and interconnected world.
It's clear that he's a deep thinker, constantly searching for patterns, connections, and insights.
That can help us understand ourselves and the world around us.
And while his ideas are sometimes provocative and challenging, they always stem from a deep sense of curiosity and a desire to make the world a better place.
That's what makes his work so compelling. He's not just offering answers. He's asking questions.
Inviting us to join him on this journey of exploration and discovery.
To challenge our assumptions and to consider new possibilities.
For how we might live, work, and create meaning in the 21st century.
That's a great point. His thoughts, while complex and multifaceted, ultimately point towards a hopeful vision of the future. He sees the potential for human ingenuity and collaboration to solve the challenges we face.
And create a world where everyone can thrive.
Exactly. Yeah, it's inspiring to see him tackling these big questions, with such a curious and optimistic spirit. He doesn't shy away from the complexities and the challenges. But he always seems to find like a glimmer of hope, a path forward. A reason to believe that we can create a better future.
What I find particularly interesting is how he weaves together insights from all these different fields, philosophy, psychology, biology, history, technology.
It's very interdisciplinary.
It is. He's not bound by these disciplinary silos. But he sees the interconnectedness of knowledge. Recognizing that we need a holistic approach to address these complex challenges.
That's a great point. He's constantly making connections between seemingly disparate ideas, drawing on his vast knowledge base to create this rich tapestry of understanding.
It reminds me of how important it is to cultivate a wide range of interests and to be open to learning from different perspectives.
Absolutely. And it's not just about accumulating knowledge. It's about synthesizing it.
Finding the patterns, the connections that can help us make sense of the world.
And he doesn't just offer these theoretical musings. He also proposes concrete actions we can take to improve our lives.
Like what?
For example, he suggests that we can consciously design our environments to promote well-being.
In what way?
Incorporating elements of nature, beauty, social connection.
Into our homes, workplaces.
Our communities.
He also emphasizes the importance of cultivating mindfulness and self-awareness.
Recognizing our own biases and patterns of thinking.
Developing the emotional intelligence to navigate the complexities of human relationships.
He even suggests that we can use technology to enhance our well-being.
Interesting, how so?
Designing apps and devices that promote mindfulness, connection, purpose.
Yeah. Rather than simply distracting us with endless entertainment and social media.
And he challenges us to think critically about the narratives we consume.
Oh, yeah. Where are those narratives coming from?
Whether they come from the media, politicians, or even our own internal monologue.
Right. He encourages us to question assumptions, challenge biases,
seek out diverse perspectives,
to form our own informed opinions.
It's like he's calling for a kind of intellectual self-defense.
I like that.
Arming ourselves with the critical thinking skills and media literacy.
To navigate the information overload of the digital age.
And he reminds us that we are not just passive consumers of culture, but active creators.
We have the power to shape the world around us.
Through our choices, actions, creations.
This brings us back to his emphasis on curiosity and creativity.
Right.
He sees these qualities as essential for solving problems, innovating new solutions.
Creating a more beautiful and fulfilling world.
He encourages us to embrace playfulness, experimentation,
a willingness to step outside our comfort zones, challenge ourselves to learn and grow.
Throughout our lives.
It's like he's saying that life itself is this grand experiment.
Yeah.
And we're all invited to participate.
To explore.
To discover.
To create.
And in the process, we might just find that we're not just solving problems. But creating something truly meaningful and beautiful.
Something that makes a difference.
Yeah, something that makes a positive difference in the world.
So what does this all mean?
For you, the listener.
What resonated most with you?
From
Tyler's explorations.
Perhaps you're inspired to take a walk in nature. Start a creative project.
Maybe you're rethinking your approach to work. Leadership.
Even happiness itself.
Whatever it may be, we encourage you to keep exploring.
Keep questioning.
Keep creating.
The journey of discovery doesn't end here.
As Tyler reminds us,
there's always more to learn.
More to create.
More to experience.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Tyler's thoughts.
We'll see you next time
for another fascinating exploration.